Hi, I'm Demi Barbito, and this tape is going to cover empty-hand counter-assault tactics as we teach them at the Center for Self-Preservation Training. Self-preservation is not a destination, it is a direction. Self-preservation is the art of the everyman. This program will strive to meet or exceed all your needs for empty-hand counter-assault tactics. This program will only cover empty hands, but it's a best options program for worst-case scenarios. When it comes to self-preservation, the first thing we have to look at is threat recognition, and that simply means recognizing threats before they materialize so that you don't get caught and react from behind the power curve. But the first threat I want to acknowledge is, are you a threat to yourself? Do you think that just because you have a little knowledge or skill that you no longer have to worry about these situations? Do you think that you can do things that you otherwise wouldn't have done without the training? If you do, you are a threat to yourself. Just because you know martial arts, just because you train, doesn't mean you can conduct your life any differently. We don't want to go into violence willingly. We're always looking to escape or avoid. So if you think you're a tough guy, and if you think you can do things now because of your martial arts, you're already a threat to yourself and you don't understand what we're doing here. Self-preservation is violence when violence is forced upon us. Other than that, we're looking to escape and we're looking to avoid. Darkness itself is a huge threat, and the only way to deal with darkness is with light. So I want to introduce the Surefire combat lights. They are small, handheld lights. They are extremely bright and extremely powerful, not only for general safety and lighting up the area that you're in, but also for blinding an opponent. This is a white light weapon, and the blindness is extremely effective at night. General safety, blindness, and also being used as an impact weapon, they are indispensable for negotiating the dark. We can either be coming down a dark hallway like this, or use our personal combat light and just completely light everything up. The Surefire lights are incredible, and they have various personal combat lights with various accessories for whatever your tactical needs. Even areas that appear lit up with ambient light still have dark corners, and all dark corners hide goblins. The Surefire light can help you light up those corners before you encounter them close up. This is the Surefire E1E Executive Elite. It is a 15 lumens lamp. It has a pocket clip. It's activated by pushing on the tail cap or twisting the tail cap for constant on. This is the Surefire E2E. It is a 60 lumens lamp. It also has a pocket clip. It's activated by thumbing the tail cap or twisting for full-time on. This is the Surefire A2 Aviator. It is a dual light source flashlight. When you push the tail cap in partially, you get a 3-beam LED low-intensity light. When you push it in the rest of the way, you get a 65 lumens lamp. The tail cap works the same way when you twist it. One twist gives you the low-intensity 3-beam LEDs. The rest of the way gives you the 65 lumens. This is the Surefire Millennium M3 Combat Light. It's a 125 lumens light. It's bigger than the others, but still fits comfortably in the palm of your hand. The tail cap is activated with pressure for momentary or twisted for full time. Architecture presents a definitive threat because around every corner is a blind angle, an extreme angle that you can't see down until you pass the threshold. So instead of just casually walking too close to the corner, it would set me up if somebody was there. I don't have a reactionary gap. So what I want to do on any corner I come into is I want to give myself a little bit of a wider step as I get near it. So as I come this way, I'm going to move out this way around the corner so I have this reactionary gap. I can do something if I was forced to and not try to react from behind the power curve, having this guy right on top of me right away. Coming down this wall, there's a corner down there with an extreme angle that way, and that's what's causing me danger. So as I approach it, I'm going to move out this way a little bit and then continue that way or make my turn. But I want that reactionary gap when I get down there. So as I approach, I'm going to move up, but then I make my reactionary gap, and in case somebody is there, that's when I can draw my blade, go empty hand, or whatever I need to do, but I need that space cushion. Another area of threat recognition is simply strangers approaching you for whatever reason, but when a stranger approaches you, you need to acknowledge them as a potential threat. When Pat comes out here, in a situation where a person was to walk up and ask me the time, if I was simply to oblige and tell them the time, if they have bad intentions, I'm gone. So in any situation where a stranger approaches me, I'm going to do a few basic things. I'm going to casually bring my hands up, I'm going to take a step back, and I'm going to look over my shoulders, because there's two things I have to assume right now. Number one, he's armed, and number two, he's not alone. So in this situation, I'm going to simply step back, put my hands up, and take a quick glance. Now, if I need to tell him the time, that's where I tell him the time from, not from behind the power curve. Now the reason I stepped back is so that I have a reactionary gap in case he does something. The reason I'm looking over my shoulders is in case there's somebody else on the periphery. And the reason my hands are up is so that I can nail this guy with something if I had to as he approaches. Again, it can be a situation where somebody walks up and asks directions, and if he was asking me directions to Highway 101 and I went, yeah, it's over here, okay, I can't do it like that. I'm too far behind the power curve. So again, my hands are going to come up. I take a casual step back. I'm going to glance over my shoulders and yeah, it's right over here. And if this is too much for this guy to handle, too bad. This is the way I'm going to do it so I don't get caught from behind the power curve. Self-preservation means avoid and escape. Good footwork and good distancing can help you do that. It also means seriously attacking your opponent. Good footwork and good distance and movement can help you launch and land those attacks. I'm going to give you a basic way of standing, a basic way of movement, and then we're going to freestyle it, and there is no way of doing it, but there is a comfortable, coordinated methodology behind moving. First of all, you're going to stand with your left foot in front of you at a 45-degree angle. If you're confronted, this is where you want to be. This is a phasic posture. It's not a Roman statue. You're going to be able to move and respond from here. You're not bladed. Do not get into a bladed posture. It's simply a 45-degree angle, comfortable with your hands up. Sink down into it a little bit and have a 50-50 weight distribution. This is where you're going to be for a basic posture. Now to move from here, what you're going to do is step with your front foot and push and drag with the rear. This is how you advance. So very easily, okay, that's a quick advance. If I want to go back, my back foot now steps as this one pushes and drags. Okay? If I want to go to the right, my right foot always moves first. So my right will step, my left foot will push and drag. If I want to go to the left, my left foot steps, my right pushes and drags. So it's just a back and forth, basic, easy feel here of movement. Now if I freestyle this, just pushing and dragging, you'll see that it doesn't become a very methodical motion by motion thing. It's freestyle, but it's methodical in that it's coordinated and keeps you balanced. So it just looks something like this. The next area we're going to cover is attack. You're either hands up, stood back because a person approached you and asked you the time or directions or something, or you're up on your toes moving around in the throes of violence. Someone's coming after you, they're approaching you, they're trying to hurt you, whatever. Now we need to know how we attack another person. First of all, anybody that approaches us is going to get hit in an area that creates pain. You're not going to randomly throw your hands and feet out at people. You're going to hit them in areas that can't be strengthened through repetitive exercise. So anybody that comes near me is going to get hit in the eyes, the throat, the ear, the groin, the thigh, or the knee. These are areas that create pain when they're hit. We're not looking to just score on people and have them hit us back and get into a fight and throw blows back and forth. We're looking to create pain and take our opponent down. So, what I need to do is dehumanize them and objectify them. Everybody in the world who approaches me to offer me violence is simply a pair of eyes approaching me, simply a groin approaching me. Whatever I need to hit to create pain is all that's approaching me, not a big, tough, pissed off guy who outweighs me by 50 pounds. So let's bring Pat out here. If I'm in a situation where it's time to hit Pat, hands are up and I've stood back and he's going to approach, or we're up moving around already, we're in a fight, I'm going to objectify him by hitting him somewhere that creates pain. First shot I'm going to go for is the eyes, and the tool I'm going to use is the eye jab. I'm taking the pads of my forefingers and I'm going to whip them into Pat's eyes. What I'm not going to do is poke them in. It's the hand whipping in, and the pads are kind of descending downward. And the feeling is I'm going to step with my front foot, push and drag with my rear, and whap these things right into his eye like this. Bam! Okay? Now, I'm objectifying Pat. I'm saying, here's a guy coming after me, and I'm not just going to start swinging punches back and forth with him. I want to hit him with something that creates pain. First shot is going to be my hands are up, step with this foot, push and drag with this, the fingers whip right into his eyes. Boom! Right there. Now, the next one I'm going to do is the throat strike. If you notice, my hands are up like this anyway. I've got this curvature between my thumb and my fingers. I'm going to shove this straight into his throat. I'm going to step with this foot, push and drag with this one, and this goes right into his throat. Bang! Right there. Now, as I do this, I'm bringing my weight behind it and just right into his throat. But anytime I throw my hand forward toward a person, if it goes out at 50 miles an hour, it comes back at 100, just for effect. The feeling is, boom! Real nice, real fast. Again with the eyes, bang! Real nice, real fast. The next one's going to be an ear slap. I'm going to take my rear hand. It doesn't have to be cupped, open, wide. It's just flat. Just take my flat hand. I'm going to step with this foot, push and drag with this one, and just pop this thing into his ear. Not much of a wind-up, kind of straight and slightly curved, twisting at the waist a little bit. It'll look like this. Bang! Okay? Real hard, real fast. Bang! Right into the ear. If I go from the waist down, because he's a little farther away, I'm going to use different tools and hit different targets based on distance. If he was close enough to hit in the eyes, he's probably too close to kick. But if he's close to kick, I can see the kick, he's probably too far to hit in the eyes. So you have to say, what's open? Well, if it's the low line game that's open right now, what we're going to do, I'm going to take my shoelaces on my front foot and bury them into his zipper through what's called a shuffle hook. I'm going to take my rear foot, it's going to slide up to my front. As it slides up to my front, this knee is going to pop up. As the knee pops up, my shoelaces fly sideways into his zipper. My foot comes back and goes down. So real easy, it looks like this. Bang. Again, real simple, real easy. Bang. Okay? Now when I do that, I don't want to come upward. Okay? I'm looking to bring the foot in sideways. That's the way it's facing right now anyway. So when this foot pendulums up, boom, and then down. The next one I want to use is the thigh kick. I'm going to take my whole shin, not my foot. I'm going to step with this foot diagonally in front of him, slightly like this. Just a little bit. As I do, I'm winding up this side of the body to take this whole shin and bury it into his thigh. So real easily, bang. Now when I do that, I'm not trying to hit it and bounce off. I'm trying to chop right through. And this is a painful, painful shot when done right. So the feeling is, step off diagonally slightly, wind up this side of your body and cut right through his thigh. So real easy, bang. Now, the next one I want to do is I'm going to attack his knee. And I'm going to attack his knee with the tip of my shoe. So this again steps off diagonally, and this side of my body now just kicks straight up into his knee. So real easy, it looks like boom. Again, bang. When I do this, it's very hard and very fast. It's very deliberate. But I don't want to look at the knee, focus on the thigh, focus on the groin. I want to get these tools sharpened to where I can just be casually looking at this guy and get that feeling of connecting. Get that feeling of connecting. Get that feeling of connecting. You don't have to stare at the target you're going to hit once you've got these tools down. So again, based on distance, if Pat is close enough to hit in the eyes, and he presents those eyes, boom, I shuffle that eye jab in. If he's close enough to hit in the throat, bang, I shuffle the throat in. The ear, boom, I pop the ear. The groin, boom, I nail the groin. The thigh, bang, or that knee, boom. It's a small set of tools that I can use to objectify this guy. Whoever approaches me is going to present one of those things. I'm going to nail it and create pain. It's not just a point here to hit and score. You must create pain. Any of these targets, bang, pain, boom, pain, okay? When I create pain and actually hurt this guy, I can move into the next wave of the counter-assault. What we want to start doing here is getting a little bit of the training, and that is how to sharpen these tools and get comfortable using them. We're just going to mess around here with some pads and some equipment so that I can actually come in and strike with these tools and get a nice feeling for the distance required to land them, some footwork, getting a little bit of a feel of moving around the combat, the violence, and connecting. Now when we do this, we want to keep it safe, so we can't throw any throat strikes out. I'm not going to hit Bill with a throat strike, but what I am going to do is use certain pads to land ear slaps, eye jabs, groin shots, knee kicks. I'm going to put a little bit of thigh kick out there, real light, but just getting a feel for it. And we're covering the parts of his body that are going to get hit, that are dangerous, with some protection. On his knee, hard shell protector. Even if I hit his knee lightly, I could still hurt it. On the thigh, I'm going to hit it light. We've got a pad for the groin, pad for the eye, etc. And you'll see how we do it. So Bill's going to come on out here. Let's go right side groin shot. Okay, let's do that again, a right side groin shot. Okay, let's do that one more time. Right side groin shot. Let's do a left side groin shot. Okay, one more time. Left side groin shot. Okay, let's do a left side eye jab. Let's do a right side eye jab. Okay, let's do another right side groin shot. Let's do a right side thigh kick. Okay, let's do a right side knee. Let's do a left side knee. Right side groin. Right side eye jab. Left side eye jab. Left side thigh kick. Right side thigh kick. Let's do a left side knee. Let's do another left side knee. Let's do a right side groin shot. Let's do a right side eye jab. Let's do a right side ear slap. Let's do a left side thigh kick. Now what we have to discuss is the methodology of attack. What we just covered were the tools that we use to attack somebody. Now we're going to talk about the how we use those tools. The first thing we have to discuss is the highest level of attack there is, and that is an interception. When you intercept somebody, you hit them as they move or as they attack. If a person pulls their hand back, boom, that's when they get intercepted. If a person steps forward, bang, that's when they get intercepted. An interception is hitting somebody in the process or development of their movement or their attack. Now, there are many other ways of attack, but interception is the highest level of attack there is, because your opponent doesn't even get to get close enough to you and doesn't get to have his attack be all the way fulfilled. As soon as he, bang, he's nailed. The hand comes up, he starts moving forward, he's hit. with any of those tools. You can intercept with a shot to the groin, you can intercept with a shot to the knee, you can intercept with a shot to the eyes. An interception isn't the attack, it is how you launch the attack. You're attacking with your eye jab, you're attacking with your groin shot or your thigh shot, but when you hit a person in the process of their own attack, that is an interception. The next one is a counter. A counter is sometimes you don't get to intercept. Someone pulls a shot off real quick and you use your footwork and you get out of the way, or you slip your head back and get out of the way, and the moment their attack is completed, you fill the gap and put your own in. Immediately after their attack has failed, you put yours out. If the guy goes to kick you and you move out of the way and then you come back in and fire a kick, that's a counter. If someone swings at you and you move your head out of the way and then boom, you fire your eye jab, that's a counter. Immediately after their shot has been fired. The last way we're going to cover is a simple attack, and that is simply someone is close enough to hit, so you hit them. It's not based on whether or not they're moving in the process of an attack, whether their attack is finished, completed, or anything. The person's close enough to hit, you simply hit them, whether it's kicking range with a kick or hand range with the hands. Because they are close enough to hit and you feel threatened enough, you just nail them. So I'm going to bring Pat out here. What we're going to do is we're going to say, Pat moves toward me. So move in a little bit, Pat. That is where I need to intercept. Go back again. If he starts to move, bang, that's an interception. I hit him as he moves in the process or development of his attack. If Pat was to pull his fist back, boom, that's an interception. I have to have the timing and the awareness to catch what he's doing, so I need that distance, so when the fight started I put my hands up and stood back anyway, or I started moving to keep away from him. I have that reactionary gap so I can see what this guy's doing so I can intercept. Again, if Pat stepped forward, bang, I pop that knee. If Pat steps forward, boom, I hit that throat. I'm intercepting Pat to hit him before he can get to me and create pain while he's still a little bit away from me. This is also the best way for me to shut down his attack. It hasn't even completed itself yet. The next way we talked about was counter. Okay, if Pat was to take a swing at me and I was to move out of the way and then boom, fire my eye jab, right after his swing, that's a counter attack. Back up just a bit, Pat. If he came in with a shuffle hook and I moved back and then I fired this, that's a counter. If I do something immediately after him, that's a counterattack, and I have to be prepared to counterattack, not just always intercept. The next one is a simple attack. Step in just a little bit, Pat. He's close enough to hit right now. My hands would be up. I've stepped back, but I haven't stepped back all the way for whatever reason. I'm still within reach of Pat, and just based on distance and me feeling threatened, bang, I hit him. He's close enough to hit, so I do it. Not based on whether or not he's moved, he's in the process, or whether his hand is completed moving, doesn't matter. It's just close enough, so I do it. If I was back a little bit farther, he's just close enough to hit. Based on the circumstances and my feeling of being threatened, boom, I pop that knee. Okay? Bam, I tag the groin. Based on me feeling threatened and his proximity. If I can just reach out and nail him, that's a simple attack. If he throws a punch and I get out of the way and fire one back, that's a counter. Take a step back. If he moves in at me, boom, and I hit him in the process or development of that movement, that's an interception. You can intercept, you can counter, and you can launch simple attacks with any of these tools. Once you've created pain by hitting somebody with one of those tools, using one of the methodologies of intercept, counter, or a simple attack, the next thing we're going to do is create pressure on this person, closing the gap, and take the fight to close quarter combat where we can put people down, or we can end the violence and make the escape. But from the kick, the eye jab, the knee shot, whatever we do to create pain, to close quarters is a long trip in the middle of combat. We're going to close the gap methodically and violently using a technique called the straight blast. When I straight blast, what I'm doing from the waist down is a sprint. It's only going to be about a 3-foot sprint, maybe even a 2-foot sprint, but I'm sprinting toward my opponent as fast as I can. From the waist up, I'm chain punching into the cone of my vision, and that looks like this. Hand comes out, hand comes back. Hand out, hand back. Hand out, hand back. And the hands are going to go over each other. There's no gap because I'm punching into the cone of my vision, so they're going to overlap. As I do this, I want a little shoulder behind the whole thing as well. And as I'm punching, there's going to be some power from the shoulder coming out and from the run, but the straight blast isn't about power. It's not about hurting people. It's about safely closing that gap, yet still violently closing the gap so I can get into the close quarter game. But as I straight blast, I still want to be putting as much pressure on the person so they can't fight back. Remember, they've just been kicked in the groin or hit in the eyes. Then from the waist down, I'm running. I'm sprinting as fast as I can. From the waist up, I'm punching into the cone of my vision. This closes the gap methodically so I can take the person out. Let's see what this looks like on a bag. Come on out, Bill. If Bill's pad is up and I'm going to straight blast, a very basic look at this is simply punch into the cone of my vision, punch into the cone of my vision. A realistic straight blast would look more like this. Okay? It's not, 75 shots. It's a quick run from the kick in the groin and now. And as I do that, I'm trying to put up punches into his center line so that he can't punch or fight back. But I'm also doing this to close down this guy, putting pressure on him as I run in so I can get to that neck and bring the close quarter. Again, whether or not it was an eye jab, a knee shot, whatever I used, the moment I finish whatever it is, bam, he's in pain. So from the high line, from the waist up, it's chain punching into the cone of my vision. From the low line, it's a hardcore run. And we're going to show you what that looks like now. Now we're up moving around. We're keeping away from this guy and we're looking for an escape. He forces the issue, we hit him in the eyes. The very next thing is a straight blast. I'm coming down his throat as quick as I possibly can, and I'm going for his neck. I literally mean grab your opponent by the back of his neck. You're going to reach around and cup his neck with your hand and bring the knuckles of your other hand over the knuckles of that hand, creating a platform on your opponent's neck. This way you've drawn him now into close quarter. The game here is get people where they can't fight. Most people, 99% of the population of the world, doesn't know how to fight in close quarters. They all know how to stand back and exchange bombs with each other, but once you grab them by the neck and you got them in close, they're working on getting out, not fighting back. We're going to open up on them in that range with the most devastating tools the human body has to offer. And those are thumbs in the eyes, headbutting, elbowing, and knees, in combination and rapid fire. This is the stuff that drops people. When you hit them in the balls and you straight blast your way in, grab the neck and start to open up on them with the best tools that you have, this person's going to drop. We're neutralizing the threat and making our escape. We're not here to offer gratuitous violence, simply stop the violence that was offered to us. So let's look at these tools and how we apply them. So Bill, you come on out here. The first thing we want to do is get the neck. So Bill's a big guy. I'm going to reach around. I'm going to go for his neck. So the feeling is I reach around and I get the neck. I've hit him in the groin. I'm straight blasting my way in and I go for the neck. Now when I go for the neck, here's what I don't do. This is wrong. See how I brought myself to Bill? What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Bill to me. I'm bringing him into close range so I can fire these tools on him, but I'm being aggressive, and I'm keeping things comfortable for me and uncomfortable for him. So real easy, the feeling is go up to the neck and get that guy's neck and bring it in. This is what we're looking for. Now, from here, first tool we're going to go over is a headbutt. Headbutt is devastating. I'm going to take my entire crown and crash it into his face once I grab that neck. But it doesn't happen from the neck. It happens from the knees, hips, and shoulders. So real easy, this is what the mechanics of a headbutt look like. Bang! Okay? Notice my knees bent, my hips bent, and my shoulders came forward. It wasn't this. Boom. It's bang. It's the whole crown hitting his whole face. So when I reach in and get Bill's neck right here, boom! That headbutt coming in is devastating. He can't move. He's totally held captive right here. My whole crown, my body mechanics, bang! Crushing into his face. The next one, since I'm throwing my head forward and creating this mechanic, I can now lift my head back and drive the knee into his groin. Now, most people have a problem with the knee. They think the knee's going to come up, okay? The knee does not come up, it drives forward. So when I grab this and I go bang with the headbutt, the next, boom, bringing that knee forward. So the very first two shots the guy got are here and here. The next one, elbow. What I'm going to do is go headbutt, knee, elbow. I take one hand off to elbow and the other one stays on, keeping him in this range. Now when my hand comes off, boom, boom, I don't wind it back. Right from here, headbutt, knee, and as soon as it clears his face, bang! See my body turning? This is how I mechanic an elbow. Mechanics on the headbutt, mechanics on the knee, mechanics on the elbow, this grabs, and the other elbow mechanics. So I'm going headbutt, knee, elbow, elbow. But something else incidental here, I'm reaching through here to get the neck. I never wrap. I dive down the rabbit hole. As I do, these thumbs should just right across his eyes. I'm not gouging his eyes. It's just a scrape. So I do it on the forehead for training. As I reach through, bang, now I'm here, boom, there's the headbutt, bang, there's an elbow, elbow, headbutt, knee. I just keep these things rolling in combination. The next thing I'm going to add is an off balance. If I reach in, headbutt, knee, elbow, elbow, headbutt. Now I'm going to take Bill and just yank him to one side. Whoosh. Boom, boom, bang, boom, boom, bam, thumbs, headbutt, knee, boom, boom, bam. Okay, now, from there, I want to get rid of him. So I've headbutted him, I've elbowed him, I've kneed him. I want to shove him off. So what I'm going to do is this. One hand here, and I'm just going to go and push him forward. It's not going to be a big, it's just going to be real easy. When I come in here, kicked, hit, whatever, straight blast, grab thumbs, headbutt, knee, elbow, move him, headbutt. I don't want to get in here and offer gratuitous violence. Just enough to end what he's trying to do and make my escape. So once I'm in, thumbing, headbutting, kneeing, elbowing, pushing, creates my window of opportunity to escape.
Beautiful. One more pass. Brace.
Sometimes you don't get to kick or hit people, straight blast them, and then grab their neck because they're too close to begin with. You were cornered. You were in a bathroom stall. You were in a phone booth. A guy's just breathing down your throat from the beginning. That's where you go into close quarter combat as an independent entity. You don't have to back up, move around, make your shot, but you're already there. You're on the 1 yard line. So sometimes it's appropriate to simply start going into close quarter combat when you feel threatened and the guy's close enough. I'm going to have Bill come out. And all I'm going to do is just from this position, this closeness right here, instead of making an entry, blasting, I'm just going to go for it from here. So the pad comes up. Okay, again, same thing. Firing a flurry, trying to operate in a very tight window right here. Okay, one more, same thing. Guy's too close to me. I don't want to have to back off and do, it's right here now. One more. Here I want to cover psychological ammunition, or what we call fight psychology. In the big picture, we are never going to have an absence of fear. Fear is actually a good thing. It prepares your body for violent activity. What you want an absence of is cowardice. Being a coward and having cowardice is what will hinder you tremendously in combat. You simply won't be effective if you're under the influence of cowardice. So what we want to do is get beyond that, using the fear as a propellant. We're going to use what's called psychological ammunition. Psychological ammunition is something psychologically that propels you physically in a way that you normally wouldn't go. For example, I ask some of my clients, what would happen if your big, pissed off, mean nightmare opponent came after you in the parking lot one day? And they all say, man, I'd be kind of scared, be a little worried about that, I don't know, it gets a little hairy. Okay, and then I ask them, what would you do if you walked in the house one night and that guy had your wife by the throat? And they all go, I'd kill him. I'd tear him apart. Oh, it'd be over. But it's the same guy. But the thing is, the psychology has changed. So if we can propel ourselves physically through psychology, you can be that much more dangerous to your opponent. So what you have to do is figure out what your psychological ammunition is. Whether it's someone coming after your wife, your kids, any of your loved ones, whatever it may be, what would propel you into that level of violence, and then you must start there every time you have an encounter. Not have to be brought there, start there. Start at the most dangerous psychological level you can. Now, you need to take your training methodology, whatever you're doing, whether you're hitting, blasting, headbutting, elbowing, and kneeing, and train under the influence of that psychological ammunition. After a while, you won't have to kind of think about it. The feeling will just be there. When you're in long range, moving around, looking at what strikes you're going to land on your opponent, you're calm and you're relaxed. When you do hit one of those strikes and you create pain, and you start to straight blast down their throat, that's when that psychology gets turned up all the way. This is the person who came after whoever. This is the person trying to harm whoever, and you're going to go down their throat with everything you've got. It makes you tougher. It makes you meaner. It makes you more tolerant to pain. It's the worst you that you can come up with. And that's who you want to present when you have extreme violence in front of you. That's who you want going after this other guy. You don't want to be a tame you. You want to be a wild you. And once you're headbutting, elbowing, and kneeing, and it's over, and you shove this guy off, you got to relax again and get the heck out of there. But you have to do this in training. You have to do it over and over and over so that you're used to doing it. If you just do it the first time you get into something, things could fall apart because you're just going to go berserk. But you've got to get out here and hone that so it's a sharp tool. You have to have the clarity of purpose. I'm going to get out here, I'm going to move, I'm going to hit, I'm going to blast, headbutt, elbow, and knee, and shove this guy off because I'm looking to make an escape, because I'm looking to stay safe, because I'm looking to protect my loved ones. Not to look good, not to have an ego, not to win, none of that. There is a definitive clarity of purpose. I'm looking to make an escape and stay safe. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to offer some heavy-duty violence. That's the physical part. I also want the psychological part backing me up. I want to be so pumped psychologically that if I do get hit, it doesn't affect me as much. And I also want that feeling that comes from that propelling me forward to take care of business, to finish this, and make the escape. I don't want to sit here with my ego on fire and offering gratuitous violence. It's very succinct and very, very effective. In the totality of the circumstances, there's more to know than what is on this program. However, what we are providing is a very good best options package for counter-assault. When someone's coming after you, just getting your hands up and stepping back or moving is crucial. From there, hitting them with something that creates pain is crucial. Closing the gap with a straight blast to shut down their options and to close up tight where they don't know how to fight, and you grabbing that neck and firing headbutts, elbows, and knees, the tools that drop other people quickly, is crucial. And shoving them off and getting away, that's what we're looking for here, making a methodical escape. We are having to put out some violence ourselves to do it, but it's not gratuitous. It's succinct, and then we make a break for it. But we also have to know some other things in the big picture that may come into play, like clinch. Fighting in the clinch is very important. The clinch is when bodies are hugging tight, when people are wrapping arms around each other, when the necks are being grabbed, when people are hugging around the back of you. Clinch fighting is crucial. Knowing how to fight there will get you out of the clinch and into headbutts, elbows, and knees, or other strikes that can take people out. Ground fighting is crucial. The first blow of a fight could knock you to the ground with your opponent then getting on top of you. You have to know how to fight down there in case it happens. It just may happen incidental, accidental, doesn't matter. You need to know how to fight on the ground. Weapons. You need to know how to use firearms. Safety, handling, marksmanship, tactics, huge. Firearms are huge, but there's a lot of information, a lot you need to know. It's not just point and shoot. Bladed weapons, the same thing. Knowing the methodology of bladed weapons is huge. Being able to fight with a knife, a broken bottle, a big shard of glass wrapped up in a t-shirt. There's a lot of methodology involved though, but this is huge. Impact weapons, the same thing. Knowing what to hit, when to hit, how to hit, distance, movement, footwork, timing, it's huge. Impact weapons is fantastic. Pepper spray. Best thing to come along in a long time. Very, very good weapon for modern self-preservation. Can be used at a distance, is legal. There again is a lot to know about pepper spray. It too is not point and shoot, but it's a very good option for self-preservation. Improvised projectiles. Being able to pick up anything within arm's reach and throw it at somebody instead of just going in laying hands on initially. Being able to use this from a distance is crucial, and it can be anything. A can of dog food, a beer bottle, a rock, anything that you can pick up and throw improvised is fantastic. But it's one thing to pick up something and throw it normally. It's another thing to do it in combat when someone's trying to tear your head off. Also counter knife. When somebody has a knife and you don't, knowing how to deal with that, a good methodology, your best options for keeping yourself safe and neutralizing your opponent. Here, we're providing you with a best option structure for empty hand. There is more to know, but this is a very good place to start, especially if your major concern is empty hand counter assault. A lot of people think you have to get to expert level with each individual element in the self-preservation training. You've got to be expert with a stick, expert with a knife, expert on the ground, expert in the clinch, expert with firearms, expert with pepper spray, expert with counter-assault tactics, and that would take a lifetime. And that's absurd. You just have to have a degree of proficiency in each thing. Some things you'll actually specialize in a little bit better than others, and maybe, some things will stand out, and that's fine. We call it a jack of all trades, master of some. In the big picture, you'll have a good level of proficiency at each thing and be able to bounce back and forth between any element, going from a stick to a knife to your gun to empty hands to the ground to the clinch, or whatever. Some areas you'll just be really, really good in because you have a natural propensity for those areas, and that's fine. But what we're striving for is a degree of proficiency in each area and being able to blend all of those areas on a moment's notice, going from any one to any other as needed. That's the guy that you'd want on your side when it really goes down, and that's the guy that you need to want to be. People ask, well, when do I know if I'm going to attack somebody? When do I know what they're going to do to me, and how close do they have to get? That's where training comes in. You will see how close bodies are. You will see posturing. You'll understand how close someone has to be for you to hit them with a groin shot. But your mind, your gut, and your total experience will speak to you. Some of this will come from training. Some of it will come from real-life experience. But in the big picture, no one can tell you when. It's a decision you have to make for yourself. You have to draw a line in the sand and say, this is when I'm going to attack somebody. And if somebody does this, I'm going to go ahead and launch my attack. You can't be caught thinking from behind the power curve. You have to act or react without letting your opponent get ahead of you. The difference between sport fighting and self-preservation is obvious. In self-preservation, we're covering a broad spectrum of training options, where in sport fighting, you're going to focus on that particular sport. But there's also another difference that's crucial. Sport fighting is practical, and sport fighting has its benefits. It actually has some benefits that leak over in self-preservation. self-preservation. It's actually pretty good. It's great. But when you get into sport fighting, there's a few things that are completely different. For example, when it's sport fighting, you always know why your opponent's there. You always know his intention. You always know that your loved ones will never be in any danger under any circumstances from him. There will be no weapons involved. There will be no multiple opponents. There's always a doctor standing by. It's not the same thing as real-world violence. It is good, it does have its applications and benefits, but it's definitively different from self-preservation training. I can't reiterate enough. It's always about avoid and escape. Always. That is your very best option. Always, under all circumstances. Running, number one. Be able to run a city block without looking over your shoulder. Go, just be able to get out of there. The only problem with that is you can only run as fast as the slowest member of your party. There's a lot of contingencies. There's a lot of considerations. Be prepared to do what you got to do to stay safe, always avoid, and always try to escape. Gratuitous violence is wrong. Enough violence to make an escape is what we're looking for. One of the things you want to develop is the qualities that make all this stuff come to life. We call it combat athletics. In other words, you have to get out and train these actual combat techniques. You have to work with partners and you have to work with yourself. You have to get up and make the muscles move. You got to do this. And that will help you cardiovascularly, it will help your endurance, it will help your strength, your footwork, all that stuff will come to life through the training. However, anything you can do that will support this is crucial, whether it's biking, swimming, wakeboarding, surfing, whatever. You can't do that stuff instead of, you have to do it in addition to, and it can be supportive and help in the totality of the circumstances. Confusion still reigns. You can pick any traditional art in the world and it's a path that leads over a cliff. It's a race for second class. There is no one art that covers all of these options for self-preservation. No one art in the world covers empty hand counter-assault tactics, clinch, ground, counter knife, stick and knife fighting, firearms, OC spray, improvised weapons, mindset. No one art covers all these things, and any one art that you choose is going to try to dictate to you how violence happens according to their image of violence. Violence does not conform to any image. It can happen anywhere, anytime, to anyone. That's why you want a series of best options in all those elements, a delivery system for those, and training methods that makes it all functional. Other than that, you're taking your chances with your own self-preservation.